Hello, gorgeous boys and girls. This is one of my favourite stories. This is The Pocket Dogs by Margaret Wilde and Stephen Michael King. So here is The Pocket Dogs. The Pocket Dogs. Mr. Pockets had a very big coat, and in his very big coat he had two very big pockets. The two very big pockets were just the right size for two very small dogs. Their names were Biff and Buff. Every day, winter or summer, Mr. Pockets put on his big coat. Then he put Biff in the right pocket and Buff in the left pocket. "Are you ready?" he always asked. "Are you happy?" Biff and Buff always said, "Ruff, ruff," which meant, "Yes, thank you, Mr. Pockets." So off they all went to do the shopping. Mr. Pockets and Biff and Buff always took the long, interesting way to the shops. As they walked along, people said, "Hello, Mr. Pockets." "What big pockets you have, Mr. Pockets." "Hello, little pocket dogs." "Hello, Biff." "Hello, Buff." Biff and Buff always said hello most politely. Then one day, Biff stuck his foot through a small hole in Mr. Pocket's right pocket. In no time at all, the hole grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Biff couldn't tell Mr. Pockets about the hole in the pocket, but he could tell Buff. Buff said, "One day you will fall out of the pocket, onto the ground, onto your head, and you will be lost." "Ruff," said Biff. That night, Biff had a bad dream. He dreamed that he fell out of the pocket. He dreamed that he looked and looked for Mr. Pockets and Buff, but he couldn't find them anywhere. He woke up feeling cold and alone. The next morning, Biff hid under the bed, but Mr. Pockets found him. Biff hid among the socks and the undies, but Mr. Pockets found him. Biff hid in Mr. Pockets' hat, but Mr. Pockets found him. "What's the matter with you today, Biff?" said Mr. Pockets. Biff tried to tell him. Buff tried to tell him, but Mr. Pockets didn't know what they were saying. Mr. Pockets put Biff in his right pocket and Buff in his left pocket. "Are you ready?" he asked. "Are you happy?" Buff said, "Ruff, ruff," but Biff couldn't say anything. His mouth was full of coat. Off they went to do the shopping. "Are you all right there, Biff?" said Buff. Biff opened his mouth to say, "No, not really," and out of Mr. Pocket's pocket he fell, onto the ground, onto his head. When Biff looked up, he saw legs, lots and lots of legs, but he couldn't see Mr. Pocket's legs. "Ruff," said Biff. A lady with a shopping basket stopped. She said, "Hello, little dog. Are you lost? I will try to find your home." The lady put Biff in her basket and off they went. But Biff didn't like being a shopping basket dog. He was a pocket dog, Mr. Pocket's pocket dog. So Biff jumped out of the basket and ran away. A small girl who was pushing a toy pram said, "Look, Mum, there's a little lost dog." "We'll put him in your pram," said her mum. "We'll try to find his home." So Mum and the small girl put Biff in the pram and off they went. Biff didn't like being a toy pram dog. He was a pocket dog, Mr. Pocket's pocket dog. So Biff jumped out of the pram and ran away. "Hello, hello," said a man with a shopping trolley. "I nearly trod on you. Come with me and I'll try to find your home." The man put Biff in his shopping trolley and off they went. But Biff didn't like being a shopping trolley dog. He was a pocket dog, Mr. Pocket's pocket dog. So Biff jumped out of the trolley and ran away. "Ruff," said Biff. He shut his eyes, tucked his tail between his legs, and put his head on his paws. "Ruff," said Biff. Then Biff felt someone pick him up and hold him tight. "There you are," said Mr. Pockets. "Buff and I have been looking for you everywhere." Mr. Pockets tucked Biff into his coat and took him home. Biff and Buff watched Mr. Pockets get out a needle and cotton and sew up the very big hole in the right pocket. "Did you fall on the ground?" asked Buff. "Yes," said Biff. "Onto your head?" asked Buff. "Yes," said Biff. "You were lost, weren't you?" said Buff, and he licked Biff's ear to show he was sorry. "Yes, I was lost," said Biff. "For a while I was a shopping basket dog, then a toy pram dog, then a shopping trolley dog, but now I am found. I am a pocket dog, Mr. Pocket's pocket dog." And he jumped onto Mr. Pocket's lap, wriggled against his shirt, against his heart. The end. I hope you enjoyed that one, and I hope everyone has a good night's sleep. Good night.